Welcome to my second episode of Retwists and Rambles, where I kind of show you guys clips from my recent retwists, and I basically ramble about numerous topics. So I am not going to go into full detail about this, what this whole thing is about. If you want to know, just please check out my first episode. But we are just going to go ahead and get into today's topic. So today's topic is going to be wrapped around, we can call it New Year's resolutions, kind of plans for the year, our kind of callings for the moon cycle, like whatever it is that you believe in when it comes to kind of the areas of improvement in your life, then that is what you can label kind of this category for today. So I wanted to go over the several areas in our lives that they say is kind of pivotal to our growth, pivotal to us becoming a fulfilled human being, and just areas in our life that we kind of have to deal with on a regular basis. So what you normally supposed to do in these areas is you take each individual area and you rate yourself on a 5-point scale or a 10-point scale. Personally for me, I do it on a 5-point scale because the 10-point scale is just extremely too long, and I think that's a lot of work. So you take these areas and you rate it on a scale. For example, let's say from 0 to 10 or 0 to 5. And 0 would be, oh, this is not an issue. I feel like I'm doing great in this area. And 5 would mean that it needs improvement. Or you can have it the complete opposite. You could have it to where 0 means that, oh, this is definitely an area that is needing improvement. And 5 means that I got it in the bag. So we are just going to use 0 to 5 just for the sake of this video. So after you rate yourself on this 5-point scale, like I said, let's just use for the sake of an example, 0 being bad, 5 being good. Say that you rate yourself a 2 in a certain area. So a 2 is meaning that, hey, yeah, you need some help in this area. Like at least there's something there that you can go off of, but it's not where you want it to be. And let's just say that where you want it to be would be rated in 5. So what you do with this rating is that once you rate yourself within the area, you ask yourself the question, okay, what will make this area a 5? Once you find out what it would help, well, what areas or what things would help to kind of help it turn into a 5. I'm sorry, I know that was a lot. Then you use that information to actually plan out ways that you can go forth with improving your life in that area. I'm going to give you guys personal examples for maybe 1 or 2 of these, but for the most part, I just felt that, since this is something that I've been doing literally forever, I think that it will be helpful maybe for someone else in their journey to improving their life. So I am going off the moon cycles. So there are 12 moon cycles in the year, similar to 12 months in a year. And normally they always say at least do maybe 1 or 2 things at a time. Do not try to do all 12 because it could be overwhelming. And then once you kind of lack in one area, you're going to kind of feel discouraged and not want to actually continue growing or progressing in those other areas that you have listed. So we are just going to go ahead and go over these areas in life. They are not in any particular order, but we're going to go over them. And like I said, I'm going to kind of give you guys some prompt questions that could possibly help you with your rating. And then I am going to share some examples, not of all of them, but maybe 1 or 2, so you guys can kind of see kind of how I do it. But without further ado, let's get started. All right, so very first, let's go for ones or the areas that people are very familiar with. So they always say like mind, body, and soul, right? So first we are going to start with mental. When it comes to mental, you are asking yourself questions such as, am I aware of the patterns when I am stressed? Am I aware of the patterns of when I am depressed? Am I aware of the times where I feel lonely? Pretty much, are you aware of when you are going through these mood shifts? So of course we have normal mood shifts that come with kind of experiences in life. Example for me, I don't adjust to change very well, specifically if it's kind of like unexpected change. So when that happens to me, whether it's a change of a job or anything in that nature that I don't have full control over, I get anxious. So me being aware that I am anxious, because awareness is the first step of change all the time. When you are aware that you are anxious, at that point, you can discover the patterns that are within that cycle to help you cope with the situation, change the situation, or seek the help necessary for you to kind of get out of that situation. So I'm not going to go into much detail when it comes to that. So mentally, it's like, mentally, are you aware of yourself when you are going through these internal mood changes kind of within life? So you'll rate yourself. If you say, like, actually, yes, I'm pretty good at it. I know when I'm upset. I know when I'm anxious. I have good coping skills. They work really well. I am aware of my resources, such as I know where I can get a therapist. I know where I can seek group work, etc., etc. Then, of course, you would rate yourself on a higher scale when it comes to this. If that is not the case for you, then you know that you would pretty much rate yourself a little lower, and then you would ask yourself, like, okay, since I do not feel like I have that support, or since I feel like I am not necessarily aware of when I am depressed or anxious, how can I go about doing that? Do I need a therapist? Are there any available therapists around me? Do I have family that are within the mental health field that can kind of help me become aware of these areas, and many things like that. So mental is one, like I said, you will rate yourself on a 0 to 5 scale. So second is physical, so your body, right? So when it comes to your body, this can go with physical health overall as well as nutrition. So when it comes to your physical health, are you going to the doctor? Are you checking on, your health? Are you making sure that you are kind of up to date with your testing and things like that, such as STIs and your cancer screenings and many other things like that, of course, depending on your age. Also physical, are you at your ideal weight? If you're not at your ideal weight, what do you need to do to get there? What do you need to change regarding your diet? Do you need to do Pilates? Do you need to do CrossFitting? Do you need to do more cardio? So yeah, you will rate yourself on the physical scale and do the same thing. Like, okay, well, if I'm at a 0 because I don't do anything, but I want my body to look a certain way, okay, so what are you needing? Do you have access to a gym? Is it close to you? Do you not have money for the gym? Do you have access to maybe free YouTube videos on how to get a smaller waistline or how to eat right? Do you have the resources necessary for you to turn that 0 to a 4 or 5 or whatever is the ideal rating for you? Next is soul. So we can say spiritual. So when it comes to spiritual, of course, it varies. Some people are religious. Some people are more spiritual. Some people don't identify with anything. Personally, for me, I'm not religious. I've never been. But I am spiritual. And I did not get into my spirituality until probably about 2 years ago. So when it comes to that, do you know what you identify with? Do you affiliate with any religion? Do you practice any of the necessary practices within your religion for you to feel fully connected with your faith or with your spirituality? And again, you got to rate yourself on a 0 to 5 scale. And if you feel like you need improvement, what do you need to do more? Do you need to meditate more? Do you need to pray more? Do you need to finally actually get up and go to the church, after you kept claiming that you would do so? So what are you needing? What are you needing from yourself? So that is with the spiritual. Next, emotional. Emotional is very important. And a lot of the times we could say that emotional and mental kind of goes hand in hand. And to an extent, I would definitely agree with you. But I would say emotional is slightly different because it kind of focuses on your emotional experience. So it's like, for example, mental is like, am I aware, that I'm angry? What can I do about my anger? Emotional is like, okay, now that I'm aware that I'm angry, what's causing me to be angry? How can I not be so angry? How do I behave when I'm angry? Is this something that is deeply rooted? Is this something that is kind of recent and maybe I need to change my surroundings or change the people that I'm around to make sure that I'm not triggered to where I express my anger in a way that's not appropriate? So same thing with the ratings. Just, do you have the emotional intelligence necessary to where you go not only be aware of your emotions, but also express that emotion to others. Because we can't express how we feel if we do not know how we're feeling. And that's very important, especially in today's world. I feel that a lot of us, I say us, and I don't mean personally, but I'm just saying us, we get emotionally triggered to a lot of things, but we don't necessarily know why we get triggered by these things. We don't necessarily know if we're truly getting triggered by these things or if we're being kind of on the bandwagon of others getting emotionally triggered by these things. And because of the anxiety that we feel from not being able to kind of relate or relate too heavily, we get, emotionally overwhelmed, and we kind of behave in certain ways that we wouldn't necessarily behave had we been in our own little bubble and not necessarily kind of feeding off the back of others. Next is occupational. So with occupational, this could go many ways, but for me, it's like, okay, am I working where I want to work? Is my current place of employment helping me grow? Is it what I want to do? Is this something that can be kind of a little bit more flexible? Am I working the hours that I want to work? Am I learning what I feel like I need to learn? Do I see longevity in the area or the place that I'm currently working at? Next is, I'll say, professional. Professional occupational is could be similar, but I think it's a little bit different. Well, personally for me, because of the field that I'm currently in. So when it comes to professional, I would ask myself such as like, okay, in what ways can I advance myself in my current profession that's not related to my current job? So if I work in this certain organization, even outside of this organization, how can I develop professionally in my own self? Are there any certifications that I can get? Are there any licensures that I can kind of test and receive? Are there any ways that I can network with others that are also within my profession that can help me grow or at least become eclectic in my area of study? So that's a good one. Next, I would say is social. So social can go with friends as well as family. So you ask yourself things such as, am I spending as much time as I feel like I need with my family? Am I spending enough time as I need with my friends to where not only I feel fulfilled, but they also feel fulfilled? Do I see that as a place of safety? Are they my safe haven? Am I calling them enough? Are they calling me enough? And in what ways can I improve the bond that I have with these individuals? So that goes both ways with social, either with friends or family. Next is recreational. So I kind of made my own definition of what recreational means to me. And this kind of goes into hobbies for me personally. So as far as recreational, well, am I kind of engaging in activities that I really enjoy? So for me, I've been wanting to do kind of pole fitness and silks for the longest time. I am also an avid hiker. I absolutely love hiking. It does help in other areas that I discussed previously, such as spiritual, emotional, and mental, but it has to be its own separate thing because this is something that I will have to dedicate separate time to. So as far as recreational, it's like, are you doing the things that you truly want to do that keeps you active? Are you engaging in activities when you go traveling and things like that that will kind of help you gain an experience or a memory that you could take with you forever? So if you always wanted to skydive, have you done that? If you wanted to scuba dive, have you done that? So like, what are these hobbies and activities that you would like to engage in that would just kind of bring you peace? Do you like to paint? Do you like to sew? Do you like to write poetry? Do you like to rap? So recreational to me is like the hobbies and other additional activities that are a part of your life, but is separate from the other areas to where it is pivotal that you get it done. So physical is like, well, yes, you need to be healthy. You need to kind of work out in the way that you feel works best for your body. But recreational is more fun. It's like, what do you do for fun? Are you engaging in activities that you truly enjoy and that can make you happy? After recreational, we have environmental. So environmental to me is, so for example, kind of area of your current placement, right? So Are you living in the city that you would like to live in? Do you feel like the city that you are living in is safe? Would you like to be somewhere else? Are you currently in the city and you find yourself kind of more steering towards a country type lifestyle, or are you in the country and you find yourself wanting to kind of be in a suburban lifestyle where it's kind of slow but it's not really big like the city? So it's geographically, environmentally, are you secure in where you're currently residing? Do you feel safe? Do you feel secure? Do you feel protected? Do you feel wanted? Do you feel welcomed? And if not, is there anything that you can do about that? For those who are younger and they are living in their parents' home, or individuals that are living with roommates or a spouse that they don't really care for, it's like, okay, how can you make your current living situation more livable? How can you make it more comfortable for yourself? Next is educational. So educational speaks for itself. When I say educational, I don't mean just school. I mean, this could be school, certification, trades, kind of anything that will intellectually stimulate your mind. So if you are someone who wants to get your degree, okay, what is needed for you to get that? Where are you currently when it comes to reaching this goal of your education, just in general? So if you want your associates, okay, what schools do you have access to? Have you taken the first step to actually, get financial aid or get loans? Do you have your transcripts? Just many things like that. If you have an interest in a trade such as like welding, do you know what, programs that you have that are accessible to you? Do you know what is needed for you to kind of get approved to be able to go to these programs in these schools? So that's just an example for educational. Next, we have financial. So financial kind of speaks for itself. So there's many questions that you can ask yourself when it comes to financial, such as, am I currently in debt? How much debt do I currently have? Am I currently accruing any debt? Is there a time frame that's possible for me to get rid of my debt? How much are my monthly expenses? Can I afford my expenses? How much do I need for an emergency fund? Where's my money going? How much money am I getting in? How much money is going out? And many other questions like that as well. So are you good in this area? Do you feel like you have a steady, budget? Do you feel like your income is well and it fits well with your lifestyle? Then it's good. And if that's the case, then of course you will rate yourself higher in this area. Next, and lastly, personal. So we all have personal goals that we want to reach, right? Everything that I literally list today can be that thing. It could be that personal growth. But personal is like, okay, are you who you would like to be? Including all the areas, are you who you would like to be as a person? Are you being perceived the way that you want to be perceived? And I'm not saying go out here and change the way that you're being perceived by others, because at the end of the day, people are going to see you the way that they feel comfortable. So honestly, you can't do much about that. But are you, doing what is necessary for you? Are you living the life that is fulfilling for you? And if not, what changes do you need to make? Maybe the changes are within all the areas that we discussed previously. But thank you guys for tuning in. That is the end of the list. I gave you guys 11, and I only gave you 11 only because the moon cycle for the year has already started back in January. The next is coming soon. If you would like to go ahead and kind of dedicate one of these areas to a particular moon cycle, then that would be great. Then you need to do your calling. Even if you just leave it as a once a month thing. So this month I'm going to work on my personal. This month I'm going to work on my financial. Month I'm going to work on my occupational. It is completely up to you. But best thing I can say do is write it down. If you don't write it down, it did not happen. Plans are better written down. I'm telling you, it is a lifesaver. But that is it. I think I've been rambling on long enough. I hope this was helpful for you. It has been helpful for me. I may do a part 2 to this one because I really enjoyed this one, because this is something that's kind of close to my heart. But anyways, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope I see you guys in my next video.